Welcome to On The Bit. I'm Dave from Dream Thoroughbreds, and with me is Lenny from Bluegrass Bloodstock. How are you, Lenny?
Good, Dave.
That's good, mate. We got off to a good start last week with the championships, day one, with a few big winners. Gypsy Diamond got off to a good start. Criterion won the Derby. Lankan Rippy, mate, just a superstar.
Yeah.
And if you followed our tips in the Doncaster, you could have got the exacta that paid about $95. So anyway, mate, we're only as good as our last set of tips. So
See if you can do it again, Dave.
that's right. Another 4 big Group 1s for day 2 of the championships, and it was great, exciting racing last week.
Yeah.
So I expect it'll be just the same this week. And first up, we have the $1 Million Sydney Cup, a handicap over 3,200 metres. And who do you like in the Sydney Cup, Lenny?
Dave, as with most Sydney Cups, it's depth's okay. The least occurs. His top weight was 58, carried 54 in the Melbourne Cup 3 starts ago. So what I'm thinking is Briggerton's 6th in the BMW is good enough to win a Sydney Cup, but not a Melbourne Cup. I thought his run was very good last start. He loomed up as a major threat at the 300 and then peaked on his run. The horse is very good staying form in Europe. Beat Dunedin over 3,100 in France and then ran 3rd in the Ascot Gold Cup over 4,000 metres. That sort of form will win this race. His last run suggested that the horse is going well, and now he's stepping up to a trip that he'd relish. First time since he's been in Australia that he's got to the 2 miles, so I think he has a nice weight with half a kilo above the minimum, and will be a nice bet at the $13 currently on offer.
Yeah, this race has really become like an overseas stayers race now, hasn't it? There's not many sort of homebred horses that go well. I think the key to the race is the track rating, and it's been very good weather in Sydney today. It is going to be good again tomorrow, and there's going to be sunshine on Saturday. So I'm hoping that the track will improve, and if it improves to at worst a slow 6 or 7, if it gets to a dead, even better. But I'm pretty confident that Sartorius can win the Sydney Cup. Ignore the run last week. I'm sure he was just in for the run, and he wasn't really trying to win, and he was only in there to improve his fitness. His run in the BMW 2 starts ago was enormous. He was only beaten 2.5 lengths by 3 way for 8 stars. He's a stayer by Galileo. He's just got that bit of touch of class, which I think will give him the edge in this race. And against I think a moderate bunch of stayers which have come across from overseas, I think the favourite, The Offer, needs the track to be heavy. I think he's vulnerable if it's not heavy. And the top weight Valeurs de Coeurs will probably improve with the track. If the track improves, she'll improve. But I do think she's worse off at the weights, and I think she meets that Briggerton, sort of 4 or 5 kilos worse for getting beat. Yeah, Sartorius is $9 fixed. I think he's on the bit for mine. Next up is the $1 million Queen of the Turf for fillies and mares over 1,600 metres, and a quality lineup of the female kind, mate, and I bet I know who you're going for.
No big guess there, Dave. Catkins for me, obviously. The only negative is barrier 1, but I think that can be negated by Hugh Bowman just angling her out at the start and getting off the fence. She's got the early speed to do that. The Kiwi Recite should lead, which will give Catkins something to run down. She's flying, this mare. She ran ahead second in the Maya Classic last year. Red Tracer beat her.
Yep.
I think she's going better now. So for mine, the mile and the prospect of a wet track, they're all pluses for her. So she's on the bid at the $3.30 for mine.
Yeah. There's no doubt that Catkins and Red Tracer, there's not a lot between them. I just don't think Red Tracer's ready to hand over the mantle just yet. I just think at the weights she's still the horse to beat in this race. She was poor last start as favourite, but she deserves to be forgiven for one bad run because she's been an ultra consistent mare over the years. She's been slightly vulnerable at the 1,600 before, but I look back at her form, 3 of those were in open Group 1 races, so I'm prepared to forgive her for that as well. She's probably the second best performed mare in Australia by an appearance over the last couple of years, and she pretty much faces the same bunch again. She would normally be favoured for this race, but for her last start failure, and Nashua Willie goes back on, who rides her really well, and I think she'll just trail Catkins, and I think she might have the last shot at her. And at the $3.80, I thought she was slightly better value, and but it's going to be a good race between those two, I would imagine, on the bit Red Tracer. The third Group 1 is the $1 Million AJC Oaks for 3-year-old fillies over 2,400, mate. And who are you going for in the Oaks?
I found it a pretty difficult race, Dave, just lining it up with a host of Kiwis coming over, having their first start in the race. It's hard to line up the form in a way. I don't think Lucia Valentina is the cut and dry favourite as such. I think she had all the favours last start. Never travelled around a horse. It was a really good win, but she's pretty short for mine. My pick will be Zamba. Had the bar shoes on last start. Drew Wyden was never on the track. It was a total forgive run, but still was coming on the line. Her previous lead-up form was excellent, and strong well and 6. The bar shoes come back off, which is positive, and you know she'll run the trip. She was only beaten ahead in the Crown Oaks over the 2,500 in November, and her trainer Guy Wilder is a master of the fillies, so she's on the bit for mine.
Again, mate, like the Derby last week, I only see one horse winning this race. That's Lucia Valentina for mine. Hugh Bowman on again. He just gives these 3-year-olds such beautiful runs. He gives them time to settle and produce their best when it counts. He puts them in a nice rhythm, gets them out rounding the turn, and then just waits to the top of the rise before he pushes them. And Lucia Valentina showed last start that when she lets down, she just puts lengths on her opposition. I just think she'll sprint too good for them again. She's coming into this race 4th run up after a let up earlier in the year, and I just think she seems to be peaking for this race. I know that $2.50 is skinny, but I don't know, the way I look at it, I think there's only one horse that can win this race again, and I'm on the bit with Lucia Valentina. The final Group 1, mate, and the richest weight for age race in Australia now is the $4 million weight for age Queen Elizabeth Stakes over 2,000 metres, and it's attracted an even field, mate. So who do you like in this, mate?
So, as you said, it's an intriguing race with fantastic prize money on offer.
Yep.
Again, sort of weight for age contests in Australia over a trip, there's no real logical leader except for the import and Carlton House. I think he'll lead again, and he'll really take some catching for mine. I hope Tommy Berry watched Kieran McAvoy's ride last start. He rated the horse beautifully. I'd like to see him just let it stride up the Randwick rise and have him off the bit at the turn and might put him away. Silent Achiever was fresh for a 2,000 metre run last time when she managed to pick up Carlton House on the line. She's since had a 2,400 metre run, is now coming back to 2,000. Might be a touch dour, but still obviously one of the hardest to beat. And that's where I think Carlton House can win the race.
Yeah, it's there's no doubt this is the big race for the championships, and this is where they've put all the money behind, and they've attracted a good field to represent this race. I'm going to stick with It's a Done Deal, mate. I've always thought that this was the race they've set him for, and I just think he gets into this race at the peak of his fitness. I'm not counting any of the horses from last week. I don't think they'll back up. That track was very heavy last week. I think they'll struggle backing up into this race. It's really centred around the 3 horses, Carlton House, Silent Achiever and It's a Done Deal. I just think It's a Done Deal is the one that's really been set to peak on this day. The improving track will help him into this run. He was ridden dead last start. He was not in the race to win it. They just set him out the back and made a run. He was just to get him fit. He's got an outstanding record at Randwick. I think the 2,000 metre distance is probably his best. And I just think with a bit of speed on from Carlton House, that'll help him finish off this race really strongly. He was $4.60 when I did this did this summary. He's now at $3.80. I really like It's a Done Deal to win the Queen Elizabeth. Stable news, Lenny. We've got a busy Easter weekend here. What have you got going on, mate?
Well, one of my horses, Entirely Better, is probably going to miss this week. Yep. Just a little bit sore, and she'll back up next week. But we've got Dream Thoroughbreds have got Ecstasy. Yep. And Judo, which Bluegrass was involved in the selection of, and they look really nice chances.
Yeah, Ecstasy goes around on Sunday for her debut at Mornington in a 3-year-old fillies maiden. Race 3, number 4. She trialled well last Friday down the straight at Flemington. The 1200 may be just a little bit far first up for her, but we know she's got average ability, and it's not a strong race, so I think we'll expect her to do really well. And yeah, exciting is Judo, who trialled last Friday at Warwick Farm, and he went enormous. National Ruler rode him in that trial, and he got off and rang us on Monday and wanted to ride him again in a race. So we've set him for Randwick on Monday, Easter Monday, in a $50,000 2-year-old maiden race, race 4, number 5. And I think from barrier 5, Nash will give him every chance. And you never say no when Nash for cash rings you for a ride, mate. You just let him go and you let him on. Best on breeding, Lenny. Who are you best on breeding with this week?
Best on breeding was the very unlucky Plucky Bell, race 9. She didn't go through the ring, but has a lovely family by the sire of the moment in Mossman. Sire of obviously the Group 1 slipper winner in Moss Fun. Out of the Group 2 winning Zabeel mare and Winning Bell. There's a dam of Group winner Plucky Bell, Stakes Place, Light Brigade and Rhino.
Okay, value bets. I've only got one value bet. It's Caulfield Race 6, number 3, a favourite of ours, Smoking Joey. Yeah, he improved a lot last run and just seemed to peak on his run about 100 metres out from the line. But it was a run that just screamed be on the next start. He's down in the weights, which is a real key to him. He's down to 56.5. He's been carrying sort of 59 and 60. And don't forget, this horse has got a Group 1 second on his CV. So he's currently $8 fixed. I expect he may even get better on Saturday. I just think he's a nice bet each way. So he's the only value bet for the weekend. And good luck, Wes, on that one. Wes Hunter. On the bit special, Lenny. Who's your on the bit special?
On the bit special is race 4, number 1, Sidestep, Dave. He's a really big win last start when we come from well back on the heavy 9 track. Fitter for that run now, gets the same conditions, but is running in a set weights 3-year-old race instead of the set weights with penalties, where he lumped the 59 last start. I think that's really going to suit. Speed's going to be on again with Turquoise King and Bounding, so this will ensure a good speed for the Sidestep to run over him again, over the top, and take the 420 on offer at the moment.
Yep, he's welling at the weights, that horse, yeah, without the penalty. I'm on the bit with one of my favourite horse of mine, race 9, number 7, against your best on breeding, mate, Perron. I'm a big fan of this mare. She was entered for the Group 1 weight for age TJ Smith Stakes last week. She was an emergency, she didn't get a run. She now turns up in a Group 2 race against fillies and mares. She's got an outstanding first up record, 3 wins and a second from 4 starts. I just expect her to blow this field away, mate. I just think she'll go towards the Stradbroke in Queensland as one of the favourites. She's got the pumper on board. She's $4.80 fixed. I'm all over her on the bit, Perron. Off the bit, Lenny. Who are we laying this week?
Dave, your selection, it's a done deal. I found it pretty tough, Dave, to find one to lay this week.
He's an old favourite of yours, mate.
He is, but I think they've been playing catch up this prep. I would have thought the BMW would have suited him better over the 1.5 miles. Comes back to the 2000. He's been backed pretty hard into favouritism, but I would actually have Silent Achiever ahead of him, as with Carlton House. So I'd have him on the 3rd line of betting.
Yep, no problems. Caulfield race 8, number 6, Elite L for mine. She just got touched off last week in a mare's race. She backs up here in a very strong open handicap that last race at Caulfield. She's come up favourite. I just didn't think she deserved to be favourite in a very even field, so I'm prepared to lay her. I think she may get touched off in the last at Caulfield. So that's it for us. This is our second last edition of On the Bit for the autumn. We'll be back next week for the last Group 1s of the season. And good luck on the punt, and hopefully you have a happy Easter. See you later.
Cheers, guys.